Hello everyone and welcome back to Dreams of Arkos here on Dork Tales. I'm your Dungeon Master Kelle. I use he and him, and folks, we are doing a special intermission episode today because it has been a long time since we've ran games, so of course let's take even longer between games to talk about why it's taken so long, but also to help us plan for the future and to go into this final act on the same footing with all of our plot beats remembered, because we have like a lot of plot that needs to be reminded of. But before we do that, we should probably go around and say hello to everybody. Let's start with Robin.
Hello, I'm Robin. I use she, her pronouns, and usually I'm playing Deianera, I forget how I pronounce her name.
It's been that long.
Yeah, it's been that long. Our centaur, Amazon ranger / cleric, because I forgot I multiclassed, but until I looked at the screen. And she uses she, her as well. And yeah, I am somewhat grateful for this check-in episode because I was cleaning yesterday in my house, and if you caught my stream on my own channel, Second Gen Gamer, last night, you may have noticed I pulled something in my neck and it was causing a lot of pain, so it kind of hurts to sit upright. So I have my heating pad on, and we have Technocracy for Patreon later, so I'm gonna do my best. And yeah, I have painkillers, and
It's gonna be great. You know what else is great? Amy! Hey, Amy, it's not your back this time.
No, it's not. I mean, I do have some vague shoulder and back aches in general, but that's my typical state. Although I've been told that the normal amount of pain is no pain, and I feel like that must be must be false because there's always something
that doesn't
that
seem
hurts.
right to me.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
No.
Someone's misleading you.
Someone is lying to me directly. Lies and slander.
I live at generally around a 4 most of the time. So
yeah,
I mean,
right.
But your mileage may vary.
Yeah. Anyway, so hi, I'm Amy. Pronouns are she, her, they, them. I usually play Gwylan, Halenan, the rogue sorcerer, and I just remembered I multi-classed into fighter, so we're going rogue sorcerer fighterer or rogue sorcerer fighter.
Roguer.
Roguer. Roguer.
Roguider. Roguider.
Yeah, that.
I don't even know.
All good. Anyway, good times.
Good
I'm excited
times.
to be back with Gwylan.
Also, great times with Millie.
Oh my gosh, hi, that's me. I'm Millie or Bunny-Hearted. I'm a Gemini. My pronouns are she and her or they and them, and I'm usually here playing Tyria Zenos, the sexiest sign. Exactly. Playing Tyria Zenos, our Minotaur Artificer. I was like half in costume when I realized that we're doing a check-in stream today, and I didn't need to be in costume, but I kept the nose on, so.
It's just your
maybe
normal
my nose just looks like this. You don't know. You don't know.
You know who else doesn't know? It's Kelle.
It's Kelle. Hi, it's Kelle. I'm Kelle from up the road. I use she, her pronouns. And yes, I play Mystredo, the druid of the Circle of Sacrifice. What are we sacrificing? Usually just lunch, lunch meats and things, things that you're going to have for lunch. The usually chicken, or it tastes like chicken. That's what I tell everybody anyways. Yeah.
Everything tastes like chicken.
It's fine. It's fine.
Good to have you back.
Yeah. I'm glad to be back. I'm excited. I've got some new stuff from Mystredo. Oh, speaking of new stuff from Mystredo, I have to get in touch with some of our donors from Extra Life because I ordered Mystredo stickers to go with the Mystredo keychains. So there's a few people around here who I have to get in touch with to get some addresses so I can send out some keychains because I finally got the parts for them. So yeah.
Nice. Speaking of somebody who needs to get an extra part, it's Traz. Because he's lost a leg.
What? My leg went missing again?
Leg.
Oh, you haven't taken this leg yet. It's fine.
Which leg are we talking about? This is sounding suggestive.
No.
Hi, Traz.
I am Traz. I use he, him pronouns, and I usually play Forn, our very angry dragon monk barbarian who dines on dragon eggs, apparently. Supposedly.
Hey, you didn't come up with a backstory. You left it for me. So, who's really the villain here? Who's really the villain here?
The gods, obviously.
Still you.
All right, I'm putting Kelle in space. Boop. There we go. And And then
I
I've
gotta
got
see.
Traz in like an office of some kind. I want to move.
Oh yeah,
him
can you
into-
change me from Christine's typical background? You know, something cool for
What's wrong with Christine's
jungly,
background?
maybe.
Isn't it
Is that
pretty
Star
cool?
Wars? That looks very Star Trek. Star
It
Wars,
is
Star Trek.
definitely just like
good enough.
somebody's like render of
I
something
like
from
it.
like.
Appear to have a
I like it.
fantasy ruin behind me.
That's just your room.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
All right,
rough.
I will put. What are we gonna put behind Robin? I'll put. Cyberpunk Nightlife behind Robin. And then behind Amy, let's swap that up. I've got Millie in like ancient ruins, which just kind of works. That's
It's
kind of
right.
where
It's me. I'm an ancient ruin.
You're not that old.
Yeah, it's true.
Or maybe you are. I don't know. What is age these days?
I'm the
As a-
ancient ruin if we're going by that that logic.
Well,
All right. Boop. There we go. I'm just looking for Amy's real quick. and
Older
then
than
we'll
all of
actually-
you.
But better, stronger, faster. Boop.
just making me think
There.
of that one clip. I think it was a TikTok that was talking about
It's always a TikTok with you.
Gen X and giving them, leaving biscuits for them or something very specifically.
Yes.
And-
that
and
one
then
that Jen
running.
shared that.
Amy, where do you want to
Yes,
be?
that's true.
Like, what type of place do you want to be?
Somewhere with no holes in it and no ants in the ceiling. Is that a
Hmm.
lot to ask?
I can put you in a lingerie store. Wait, no, that has some holes in it.
Yeah.
And also ants in the ceiling.
And also ants in the ceiling. They're wearing lingerie. I will put you in
The sexiest sign.
the sex. I'll put you in a casino, I think. There we go.
Sure. Let's do it.
All right, you're in a casino. And Traz, you're in a back office, but I'll change that in a sec. So anyway, hi everybody. We're very organized today. We're going to be talking about the campaign up to this point. What I want to do is I want to check in with everybody and see what's the plot. What do you guys think the plot is? Because it's been like, oh god, like 2 months since we played. And I want to know if you are all on the same page with this. So where are y'all? What's going on in your brains?
We went into the dream realm finally.
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
Someone when
I'm
I
excited
when I
to
was-
see where we go from there.
I am very excited.
I
about
got
that.
straight married.
you
Yeah.
did.
That's true.
Like,
You did.
like straight
Surprising.
married or like straight up married? Which one are we going with?
Straight up, straight married.
Oh, fair.
Both
Starting
apples.
all around.
Yes.
But no,
Yep.
if I'm remembering like the overall vibe, I'm gonna try not to look at notes for this. We'll see.
Yeah.
Because
I
we
haven't
were
taken my
invited to
notebooks
do a
out.
cool wedding as like a good luck charm, right? And there was an additional one of us who was a cool friend of Gwylan's, whose name I'm totally
Inone.
forgetting.
Inone,
Ione,
which
there
is
we go, there we
spelled
go. Thank you.
super wild.
Yep.
That probably
So-
just helped remembering it. So then we did cool wedding stuff. I remember that she tried to pretend that Tyria was the one that was supposed to be there, and there was a whole death threat adventure. And then everything went totally to hell when she cocked the top of a giant like vat thing of wine, which then floated out and put the whole world except for us to sleep. So we chased it back to the Feywild, and now we're going in to do cool like go fight the Lord of Nightmares kind of vibes in the realm of dreams, I think. To try to wake up the world and see what the heck her deal is, because she's probably a warlock with a deeply shitty patron.
Yep,
Probably.
very much.
Ah, patron's great. So off to the land of Nod. So that is the plot right now, and then what's going to happen is you're going to have to do probably some confrontation down there. And I wanted to check in with everybody on this because I have right here in my hands everybody's character surveys, which have more highlighting on some than
Ooh.
others. So
Ooh.
I wanted to, you guys should have all have access to these. If you don't, I can share them real quick. But this is what I've used to kind of base some of the things for this. And as we're going into the Dream Realm, I'm expecting that we have between 3 and 5 episodes left. Somewhere in there. It's a third act. Right now we're on episode 12. Technically 13 with this intermission. And that means, I mean, we could have as many as 6 episodes left if we really needed to. But I want to go into this and like have some fun and really explore things. So I want you to think right now if there's anything about your character that has not been presented, or any type of psychology or backstory or anything that you want me to cover. For example, childhood trauma. If you want to have hopes and dreams covered, if you want to have anything like that, let me know. If there's anything about your character's backstory you don't want to touch on as well, if you're like, I got this whole subplot about like a dead brother, but it's kind of played out, I feel like that's resolved, you know? Or if you're like, oh, I like Tyria having, I'm gonna call you out, Mills. I like Tyria having like the straight up marriage thing happen, but I don't really want to touch on it in any negative way. I want that to be a positive element of their story, right? That is totally fine. I want you to start thinking about like what type of things you want from the rest of the game, because this is your story as much as mine. And for people who are watching this, trying to get into this, feel free to ask questions in the chat and give us some ideas as well. And if you're on YouTube, leave some comments. I would recommend that every DM who is running a campaign, particularly one with some breaks in it, where there is a continuous narrative thread that needs to be kind of tied together, to have these types of check-ins, to see what people want, and because what they may want over time may change, especially from the beginning, because these were done like within the first month of these characters existing. So with that in mind, I also have in here lists of everybody's dreams and nightmares. Now, I wonder why that will come into play. Probably won't matter at all inside of the realm of dreams, right? Like, why would it? But I want you to review what you put there and make sure that that's what you want to continue going with. And that you are comfortable having those types of elements portrayed. For example, I am going to just... Do you guys want me to list a couple of them just so that everybody's on the same page of knowing what types of stories might be touched on in the next couple games?
Sure, for me. Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm totally okay with anything on Tyria's sheet being public.
Well, what I'll do is I won't list who these are dreams and nightmares of. And I'll try to obscure them a bit so it's a little bit of a surprise, but that way that if anybody has like a deep-seated phobia of something in real life, that we don't end up doing anything that is particularly rough, because I want to get particularly rough. Okay? So we have, let's get this on page 3 of this form. By the way, I finally did some cleaning the other day, and for those of you who were in my Technocracy LARP way back in the day, I finally threw away the exams I made you take, the essays I made you write that day.
My God.
Your performance reviews, I finally recycled them.
How old are those for those that were not involved?
6 years,
yeah, right.
probably.
6 years?
Was
Okay.
that 2014 or something, or was it 2015?
Oh, yeah. No, I guess they're almost 9 years
Oh,
old.
so closer to 10.
Yeah, I hang on to a lot of stuff. All right.
I graduated high school in 2014.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Okay. So
I got my 10-year reunion potentially. People are trying to plan, and I have no idea if I'm going to go to it.
Nobody goes to that.
I didn't even get one. I crashed someone else's 10-year reunion the year prior because my class was canceled.
Random people in my like the grad Facebook group from 2014 are trying to plan things, not getting the school involved because the school probably wouldn't fucking care, but they're trying to see about doing a pub night up in the valley. So I'm like,
That's not terrible.
No, but I mean, unless it's a date that I'm there, I'm not gonna go because I'm not flying out for my 10-year high school reunion.
All right, so dreams. To find a future for loved ones. To explore the world. To find stability, money, safety, positive things. To encounter unusual situations. Freedom. To have an exciting adventure, a barroom brawl. To wander the lands. To pull off a heist, to touch on past loves and friends, some small family events, and fighting capitalism. Let's see, what else do we have? becoming an accepted person, becoming a leader, becoming someone of value in their community, to become a leader as well, and to experience life to the fullest. Okay? So those are some of the dreams we have. A lot of self-fulfillment arcs, a lot of family arcs, probably a lot of stuff involving characters' backstories, right? And obviously the person that wants a heist is Tyria, because you can't stay around loot that much to, you know.
And here I was going to guess Mystredo can use like foresight and augury to pull off the ultimate con.
It's true.
It's true.
What a good convention that would be. Mystredo Con 2025.
Possibly.
All right, and here are some of the fears. Failure. I would say consumption or the dissolution of the self, particularly in some type of power-based capacity. For example, the what am I thinking? The subsumation of the self. Let's see. Boredom and pointless existence. Being considered a monster or exile. Let's see. Slavery or servitude. Eternal darkness. Just darkness in general. Death. Imprisonment. And scientific experimentation. And tragedy. Like family-based. Okay. Flashbacks to trauma. Drowning. The tension of being hunted. And betrayal, of course, is a big one. And then, let's see.
I have to admit, I'm very curious how people kind of filled out their thing, because I went very like metaphorical, meta, like what actual dreams were. And my thing.
Absolutely. So the undead. Being eaten. And what else? Family issues. So stuff like that are our big nightmare and dream fodder. So if anybody has anything else they want to throw in, feel free to send me a PM or post it here, like mention it out loud, post it in our private chat. Like let me know. Let me know some things that I should do. I've got, when I was developing this campaign, I had a bunch of things that I wanted to try to make for it, and I'm gonna be honest, the further I got into it, the more it stressed me out before game. The idea that, oh, pretty soon I'm going to have to come up with these new mechanics. And I had all these ideas that when you guys got to the Dream Realm, that I would have a bunch of new like dream mechanics that would allow you to basically Nightmare on Elm Street 3 it. For those who have never seen that, basically lucid dreaming powers. However, incorporating those into Dungeons & Dragons is a huge pain in the ass, as it turns out. And that would require an entirely different set of systems that you'd all have to learn and play alongside of the new systems that you're already playing and learning. And that would suck.
Have you thought about using rules from like the Astral Sea?
I'm basically going to incorporate existing rules like from the Astral Sea. Now, I'm going to use existing rules, and then if anybody wants to particularly dive in deep, you are level 8 right now, so the chance of you picking up like a new feat is pretty low, but who knows? Why is all of this seeming like a Fear and Hunger reference? You know what? I should have played that game before I ran this campaign, because that game is dope and terrifying. How scary do you want the scary parts to be?
Your worst.
Okay, so we got a 10.
I'm gonna say I'm up with it being like a 9 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't feel like it has to be.
Okay. So can be scary. Okay. So as we are going forward, I also wanted to make sure, because like as we were going back, there was like the myth about what you're going to encounter in the Dream Realm seemed a little scattered. That's one of my regrets, is that when I was giving it to you all through that storyteller, I think I was having to like improvise a lot of that session because of some player illness or something like that. So I was having to like throw in some additional details to give you something to cling on to. Because I was like, oh, I don't want to miss a game, but like we've got like, I think that was when Amy completely like ruined their back and was like bedridden for like a month, right? So, and I think
it was either that or school.
I think it was
I think
both.
both happened
It's either or.
simultaneously.
And I think I
around
was
then.
under the weather
it?
too, but was
Kind
running
of.
game anyway. So it was one of those things where I'm like, well, the show must go on. And then like the show went so. So as we, oh, thank you very much. So yeah, so I was thinking, for those of you who were in Call of the Netherdeep or watched it, yeah, the stuff we did with Call of the Netherdeep, and those the dark stories. So what I have in mind is that you all are going to be going through a series of events in the future, and when you pass them, something good happens. And when you nightmares are going to be disempowerments to mechanics, and dreams are going to be empowerments to mechanics. So what I'm probably going to do is, as you go through the dream realm, you won't have a second set of mechanics, but as you experience and become more adept in dreamlike things, you may pick up certain things. A nice easy one would be potentially like a flight speed.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a question, comment. I'm sure you've already thought of this, but I think I would very much prefer that I think I would rather experience everyone else's, like if we're experiencing this together, not like doing this separated. Yeah, because
No,
one of
yeah.
the things, yeah, cool.
I
cool,
had
cool.
Yeah, no. So basically it's going to be spotlighted, but it's going to be ensemble spotlighting.
Yeah.
So when you guys are going through things, it's going to be obvious whose mission it is, right? But it's not going to be that you have to go at it alone. I might do a couple of short scenes where it's like, oh, 5 minutes, 10 minutes alone, 5 minutes, 10 minutes alone, and then you're all reunited, right? But yes, running basically solo sessions is really boring for the rest of the cast. And I appreciate you bringing that up. I sat down with Christine and we plotted this because she's producing this show and being my sounding board, and came up with a bunch of ideas for ways to make it more dramatic without sacrificing player enjoyment. But yeah, anybody else have anything else they want to suggest for that?
Well, and that like potentially like people, instead of like necessarily, I mean, people can do some rolling, but even if like you're like adding and saying how you're helping and giving the person that is about this dream, like giving them advantage or things like that, or a bonus die to roll on top, I think would be interesting, so that you are helping this person confront their nightmare or dream. Potentially might be a potential way to kind of have people interact and feel like they're helping.
Or to sort of step off that, or maybe I misheard you saying that the people helping have advantage because they're the ones who are the ones that aren't consistent with the expected nightmare or dream.
And I think that, of course, if you fail to meet the requisite challenges, you will have like a lingering problem, right? It could be something like I'll pick one randomly, but like a vulnerability to fire damage. If you have a nightmare about being burned alive, then suddenly for the remainder of your time in the dream realm, the entire party has vulnerability to fire if you do not manage to overcome that nightmare. Then again, you could be resistant to falling damage, like as long as you're here, because you got over that dream. Now, is there any particular type of dream or nightmare that y'all don't want to experience? Like everybody's got some, and you can send this to me privately if this is not something you want to discuss. But for example, people that have dreams of, I don't know, death or dying. I know that some of you don't like medical procedures, particularly things involving like injectables. So easy to avoid, right? Certain dreams of powerlessness or death. I know some of your real life backstory, so I can kind of tailor things according, maybe not that type of thing, right? Okay. Sounds good. And actually, that's a really good one. Someone posted in the private chat just now to avoid certain thing that actually would have been a really easy one to throw in for that character. So thank you for letting me know that. Okay, actually, especially given the exact circumstances that were set up for this character, thank you for letting me know that, because that would have been like checking that box.
Yeah, I don't mind saying out loud. I totally have a character fear that happened to me for real over the winter, so.
Yeah. And that's rough. I will find something else for you. That will
sounds
be...
good, sounds good.
I think that there's a nice way to spin that without addressing that issue directly.
I will say I don't know what other people's necessarily put for their like dreams and nightmares, but I specifically put nightmares and dreams that wouldn't like get me personally, but it might be different for other people. So like I have a lot of like nightmares of like sort of claustrophobia kind of things, like being crushed.
Yeah. Does anybody have any knee-jerk phobias that I shouldn't touch on? And I'm talking about like the really broad ones like claustrophobia, necrophobia, arachnophobia, clownophobia. I forget what the actual term for that is, but we actually, and I'm not saying that as a joke, we actually have had players on the channel that are legitimately terrified of clowns. And that was fun to run certain games around. It was complicated, but we did it. So anybody I don't have to bring clowns into this. I can. Is there a
but like, what if the clowns were hot?
Yeah, hot clowns. That's what
Does that change things?
How did you know my dream that I put for Deianera?
That it was just Buggy
because
from
I know
the One
Deianera
Piece live action?
well,
it's true.
How was Buggy that hot? Like,
I don't know.
The One Piece live action, Buggy the clown is actually hot.
Amy, I love him.
So you're telling me
laughing as someone who's read the manga and watched the
clown.
anime. I'm looking at it going, he's the biggest joke.
I know,
but Buggy fails upwards is the best way to put Buggy, and it's the weirdest shit in that series.
He is so hot in the animated or like in the live action show. He is so attractive. Like his actor's really hot, and yeah, he fails upward and he's a psycho, but he's like, he's what Jared Leto should have been as the Joker.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So I think there's a couple things in the chat. Scarabs, ant swarms, spider swarms. Okay. I did spider swords, but
spider swords.
Spider swords would be even more terrifying. I'll admit.
Gosh, now I'm thinking that one scarab scene from the first Mummy movie.
Everybody,
that's what we're all thinking.
Exactly
we're all thinking about that.
No, that's
my father and brother made the mistake of letting me watch that at a certain point when my mother wasn't around.
Can I ask you guys a specific question about swarms of insects?
Mm-hmm.
At what point is it okay? And I don't think it's like size of the swarm, it's size of the insects in the swarm. Is it so a swarm of ants, bad. A herd of ants, better?
There's no such thing as a herd of ants. They only come in two forms. There is a single one, a line, or a swarm.
No. I mean if they're the size of cows.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because then they're not really ants anymore, psychologically, I find. Like they're big bugs. And big bugs are different than little bugs.
Listen, have you seen what ant mandibles look like and their pincers?
Yeah, I've seen honey.
That's also nightmare fuel.
Well,
but
everything in the
more,
monster manual is
me,
nightmare fuel or dream fuel.
Yeah. For me, if it's more like what's that? Starship Troopers. If they're like that, then okay, I can handle that because it's more comical and yeah.
So giant monster bugs, like from them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little better. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a little like big bug movie, right? Okay. So I'll keep that in mind. What about, on that note, what about body horror? Is anybody against body horror? We're thinking dream logic, body parts melting, things falling out. I have a teeth falling out thing that happens a lot in my dreams.
I mean,
I think, and I always panic in my dreams because like they don't grow back, right? And that's the thing. Like I always think about that whenever it happens. I'm like, it's gone for good, type of thing, right? I don't know. That's just me.
He's taking gum stuff.
Gum stuff. That's like,
yeah.
Huh. Welcome to Psychology 101.
I guess I have thoughts on theming and vibe.
Yeah.
Because we are going into all of this together, but we all have like individual fears and nightmares and that kind of thing that's I imagine going to be used against us or used to try to get us to, I don't know, come to the dork side or fall in our steps or that kind of thing. I think it's definitely the kind of thing where I think a theme of found family or mutual support really fits very well, where we're not going into the nightmares or dreams alone. And that having both of them, having the rest of us there could then be really important. And like, just that reinforcing that we're not doing these things alone and that we have each other's back, and that could be rad.
I think so too. I think absolutely so. And I think that that's going to really pull us out of this for that. Okay, I think that's probably a good amount about nightmares. If there's anything that like you specifically want to not happen or to happen, let me know. So touching back on the mythology that's going on here, do you guys kind of have like a rough example, like a rough working idea of the story that you were given and what's going on here about like kind of the struggle between the two figures?
Yeah, it just sounds like a god's kind of in full being really pissed, being put to sleep and locked up.
Yeah, like
power back,
or something like that. There was also discussion of like a pair of beings that were locked away.
Yeah, dreams and nightmares.
Yeah.
Okay. And
maybe we should start the next game with like an overview. It's sort of like last time on Arkos. Did you know that there were these gods doing these
I would say
things?
You could do the cool like beginning, like almost sort of like a Lord of the Rings intro where it goes through the lore. And you can retell the storyteller story how you would prefer it have been done, and almost do a retcon to clarify.
That is kind of how shards used to start.
It still does.
It still does.
Yeah, it still does.
Watching shards? When you stop watching? Get back in.
So, yeah,
I have so many other things that are going on.
So maybe do that. Retell the mythology how you wanted it to be versus, and give yourself a read like how you did with shards on season 5 too.
I like it.
Oh, Kel's talking about how I used to do like the read-ins every episode.
I know.
Yes.
I know. But I'm saying, say how you wanted the storyteller's thing, almost like reading from a book kind of thing.
Do I get to go?
Yeah, that would be a cool take on it.
Sure.
Okay. You do, or we can all do chanting folk music while you do.
No, I want you to pay attention, but.
Yeah.
Multitask.
So no chance.
I'm always doing ominous cult music in my head anyways. This comes naturally to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it goes.
All right. Is there any particular goal that all of the players have aside from just winning?
Inone, want to save Inone. Gwylan believes that Inone has a reason, and that reason is wrong. But we need to drag her back kicking and screaming and make her sit down and drink a whole lot of wine and talk it out.
And Tyria just wants to hit her with a hammer.
Maybe something other than wine to start.
Maybe not wine.
Yeah,
maybe some orange juice. Maybe it's vitamin C deficiency.
Just everybody have some gladiators.
Could be. I mean, yeah. She just might need some electrolytes.
Gladerade.
Yeah.
Gladerade. That just sounds like Galarian Gatorade.
Yeah. I want to get gay married to my gay.
Okay, so
centaur, your girlfriend.
Goals.
Oh,
but not to your patron.
Not to the patron. To the.
Not to the patron.
I think there's some regrets
patron
with that
amorous?
particular patron currently.
There might be.
There is.
Yeah.
100%.
Buyer's remorse.
Regret.
Please go into that and like do that. But Deianera wants to marry her waifu at home. But please mess around with that. Because she's getting buyer's regret, but she did it out of like desperation. So I think it's a very interesting character kind of thing to explore with her.
It was late. It was the bar. She had a lot to drink.
Exactly.
It's one of them.
Someone
kind of
promises
things.
you power to stop a disease
Stop you from
going to
dying.
your heart when you are cursed from the god of death or whatever.
Yeah, all right.
It was just a
Makes
Titan.
sense.
It was a Titan of blood. Titans of
Oh,
blood.
right.
Just a Titan, he says. Just a Titan.
Well, because they're like, I feel like Ylos has too many gods, so like I'm trying to lean more on Titans. Because what a Titan
Those are just gods with extra steps.
Yeah.
Actually, Titans are gods with less steps, because Titans are gods that don't have personalities anymore. They're
so they're
almost
forces of nature, more like.
Basically, yeah. Basically,
Okay.
if you strip Zeus's horniness out of him, what is he? He's just an angry.
Guy?
He's just an angry storm guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Titan.
Okay.
So Zeus has to mac on women, or else he becomes an insane storm cloud, instead of just a creepy, lecherous storm cloud.
Horny storm cloud. Yeah.
Horny's easier to deal with. You know?
Anyway, Gwylan wants to get rich and possibly have get a sky ship and become a sky ship captain, smuggler person. But there's a very good chance that will not happen over the course of this game if she survives.
It might. You never know. So, okay, what does everybody else want? I need to hear from Forn, Mystredo, and Tyria.
Well, Mystredo wants to be more confident. She wants to be more confident. She wants to be, you know, like believed and trusted and respected, even though, you know, she's a Gorgon and maybe somehow wrangle all these silly snakes.
You talking about the snakes in your
Take
hair?
them on a nice
The
vacation.
snakes, your crew.
No, the ones in the hair.
Okay.
She's not worried about the ones in the crew. She can handle those.
Sounds good. Anything else that you want her to specifically go down? She has a date, apparently.
Yeah, I would like her to actually go to have the date, because I mean,
do you want
raised
to
in
pursue
a cave on a forbidden island? You know, she's sorry.
Do you want a romantic subplot with her, or is it kind of meh?
I like the meet cute idea. Because she's horribly sheltered. I mean, she's like, you know, like a persona non grata, you know, like she's finally finding a place where people aren't looking at her like, oh my god, you're gonna turn people to stone, we can't look at you, blah blah blah, shun the outsider kind of thing. And yeah, she wants to persona. Yes. Yeah, and she just wants to. She's the one who wants to be accepted, so she wants to get that confidence and I don't know if it would take her to the others, you know, maybe eventually in a long-term aspect, it would take her kind of more to the dark side-ish kind of thing. But for right now, I'd like to get her at least confident.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
I think so. I have some ideas for her that are not particularly. I'll let you be surprised.
Yeah.
But you made your bed. Tyria or
Throw it at me. Throw it at me. It's good.
Good.
Yeah.
You first or me?
You go first this time.
Yeah, Forn, make some choices.
Choices one would be obviously freedom, because he's not fond of being a slave to some family.
It's called an indentured intern. Okay, unpaid intern is what we use on this channel.
Well, yeah, because they changed my name, says you can't go see the orphan until you fix us, but you're serving us. I'm like, hold on. Then finding out what actually happened with the dragon eggs, because he knows Akoka and Emery's were both involved, and he double crossing both of them. He probably got caught in something they probably shouldn't have been. So. And figure out how long has he been dead, and does he have anybody he knows that's still alive?
This is true. All right, so that's what you want to do. You want to do. You basically want some backstory reveals.
Definitely.
Interesting.
I guess for Tyria at the start, the character was very much about like, you know, wanting to find a way to mitigate the looming irrelevancy of her entire people and culture in the face of automation. And so she went out there very excited to explore the world and learn new things and send some of that stuff back home. And that was kind of taken from her. So like right now she's fighting to return a status quo that she already, knows isn't sufficient. So I think she'll want to do like more stuff after that, right? Like she's gonna want to keep exploring. She's gonna want to keep learning what she can, and keep going out there in the world. Hopefully, with a cool, hot husbando with her.
I love your husband. He's so just like dorky cute.
He's like a chill dude. Yeah.
He's
just
good.
He's got
just
golden
good
retriever energy.
and-
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
I like
he's good-hearted and just a good character.
He's
think
just-
it's
I mean, unless he's secretly going to betray
Yeah.
her and like eat her hooves
I-
or something. Who knows? We'll find
Oh,
out. That's a
you
future
You know
That would
what?
be so
Hey, what
bad.
you do behind closed doors is your own business. Cool. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on for this? All right, so we're good going back in 2 weeks. So we'll be starting again as normal in 2 weeks, and we are going to cause some problems. It's going to be great. So I've got a subplot that I wanted to include as well. Do you guys? Okay. Last major question is, do you want to go directly into like adventures and in-game, or do you need some time to, you are the problem, yes. Do you want to go into a place where you can socialize first and get the lay of the land? Do you want to experience the realm of dreams? Because I feel like we kind of did that a bit in the Feywild by going to the palace and all of that, and I don't want it to just be like another like, oh, now we're at another city, time to go and find an inn.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm not particularly interested in that.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I think starting
Yeah.
with a little bit more like, oh shit,
jump
this is the
in.
realm of dreams.
Yeah,
and
'cause
then
we
maybe
just jumped
having
into
time
something-
to meet more of the locals and have some of that conversation after we start. Like,
Yeah,
we
I
can't
like the idea
necessarily
of
do an in
us.
media res kind of thing, but
Yeah. And I like the idea that we're going in and it's just like, oh yeah, we're totally prepared for this. And then like, we're not
Mhm.
exactly prepared for this.
like
you know?
we didn't we just barely escape the Jabberwock and leap through a portal?
did.
Like we are totally
Yeah.
Yep,
unprepared.
totally just jumped
we have
in.
no idea
Yeah,
what's
we're
ahead of
kind
us. We
of-
haven't,
yeah,
we've done
we're-
basically no
we're-
preparation or
we're
research.
fumbling here.
I know
Yeah,
how to do this
and I like it.
perfectly now. I love it. Thank you so much for
Ooh.
saying that, because
Uh-oh.
my initial idea was very much like a like, hi, welcome, how's it going, guys? But this way, I can drop you into something and things can be immediately horrible, and then you can catch your breath for a second, but just for a second before going into the final stretch,
Okay. I like it.
which is
Yeah, that
good.
sounds good
Yeah.
to me.
It was
Yeah,
good.
that sounds
Thank
great.
you for this
Story-wise,
collaboration.
I like it.
Well, this is why we do these check-ins, right? Because I had an idea, and like I've had this statement, the next episode title, actually, I'm pretty sure, rolling around in my head all day, and I'm like, okay, but what does it mean? How will I portray that? Because we're going to this, and then you're like, we don't want this thing that you were planning on doing, and I'm like, oh, okay, then I can just jump right into the thing that's been rolling around in my head the entire time. So it's gonna be great. I'm excited. And then we can hit the ground running, and I look forward to seeing how this goes. And I hope it'll be fun, because I want this homebrew game to go really well. I feel like some of the short run homebrew games, they either hit like super hard, or they have a little bit of an awkward phase because they end up being like bi-weekly games, or in the case of, I think I'm still a little gun shy after Dirge.
Hexador.
Exelar.
Oh, and Dirge,
yeah, Exelar and
yeah.
Hexador, basically the X's.
Mhm.
Because one was a bi-weekly game that turned into a monthly game, that turned into a monthly game that basically just limped along until you guys were like, we don't care, whoever the villain is, they win, and then the villain won. And it was like, fine, because that's a more interesting ending anyway than we beat the villain. Now it's we
yeah.
work for the villain. Balls.
That part
Right.
was kind of cool. I was not disappointed with that, really.
I love the Donna. Donna is great.
Mhm.
Also, hello, thanks for the raid, Breck. And then Exelar ended too abruptly because we had to start Call of the Netherdeep, which I think ultimately was the right choice. Call of the Netherdeep was a very good campaign, and was a lot of fun, but it also means that I'm like, that kind of ended off.
It's just one of those, make sure you give yourself time to get the ending you want. regardless of what you have coming up.
Yeah, don't schedule and realize that players are going to fuck with your timeline.
This is true.
Yeah, like don't give yourself a hard date for this to end because chaos.
Also, guys, if you want, buy all the Hurt the Mores and things, and I'll add them to the next game. So feel free, hop in, just do that. I've got 3 right now. Just keep spending. I'll put them in when we actually return in a couple weeks. I am excited. Also, if you want to, real quick, and if you want to buy experience for the Mage the Ascension Technocracy game that's on Patreon tonight, you can do that right here, and I'll make sure Jen hears. So definitely, that might be a better way to spend your point, but double pain is also good. Besides that, anything else anybody want to talk about? I love you. So as an aside, I am super excited. And I'm super excited because on the drive home from taking Charlie out for Pup Cup today, I thought more about my ideas for that campaign that's coming after the next homebrew campaign. The one that is set in like an anime.
A special.
Ooh.
Special. What special one?
Oh.
What special are we talking about?
I'm thinking of a different one then.
Oh, yes, you're thinking about the thing that I've been posting in a lot today?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be announced soon. When the schedule clears up a little, that'll be a monthly game because the makeuping for that is going to be pretty wild. But
I know, I got to go buy fabric.
You got to go buy fabric.
Fabric.
Yeah, and I think Amy just posted in our private chat that if we make this more like Reign of Memories Act 3, I think the ramping up potential will be great. I think so too. I want there to be stakes. Do you guys feel like there are good stakes besides the whole world falling asleep? Like that feels like a good stake.
Like a pretty big stake.
Yeah, it seems like
it
seems like the battle axe stake that you get. You know, it feels like that. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right.
So I like the idea that we're all new into this, but it's just like, the fate of the world rests on our shoulders. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
I just found out there's another part of the world.
And we don't know what we just did to the Feywild because of the allegiances we ended up swearing, which Forn still is not happy with, but you know, it is what it is.
And also we don't know what's happening to the people
can
who
it,
are
egg boy?
asleep right now. Are they experiencing dreams and nightmares? Are they being tortured? What kind of existence are we trying to end for them?
This is true. I agree.
Who knows,
and also,
who knows?
Ylos is a cool place. I really want to develop the world more, because right now I'm looking at all of the other campaign settings, and I want Ylos to feel. I want it to feel as unique as some of the other ones, some of the wild ones, like I don't know, Planescape, or Forgotten Realms, or Dragonlance, right? But I worry that like we're hitting too many broad strokes, that it's just like, oh yes, it's fantasy everywhere, you know? But at least it's not Earth. Who cares about Earth? That's where Greyhawk is. Nobody cares about Greyhawk. Do you care about Greyhawk? Let me know in the comments. You don't care about Greyhawk. Nobody cares about Greyhawk. Like, I want it to be as cool as Eberron. Plan a future game. Oh, on the Shattered Moon. I actually have a convention game, Amy, that I want to run. That is about the Shattered Moon. It would be pretty good, but
I'm listening.
I'm not talking anymore because
but I'm listening.
Which
means the ears are open. I'm listening.
He's gonna keep to himself now.
I will. Yeah. Take Greyhawk and just move it over here. I take what it's worth. Yeah, Greyhawk is weird. That's the other thing. I want to say that real quick about, I ran Vecna Eve of Ruin, episode 1 on Friday. And as I'm running it, that book has some really weird holes in it where they don't explain basic things that you would expect, or they contradict themselves. There's one room you go into where it says, these enemies ignore everyone. And then later in the paragraph, it's, they fight everyone. And you're like, well, come on. Which is it? But there's this one scene where they're like, you're finding like symbols of Vecna. And it's like, wait, Vecna's from a different part of the multiverse. Like, if you were playing like a DC Comics thing and Thanos shows up, should you get a history roll to recognize Thanos? Like, what? I mean, I know he universe hops, but come on. Anyways, weird. It's weird. Anyway, yeah. So, hey folks, thanks for tuning in to this catch up for Arkos. We're going to be jumping right back in. I've got so much monster research to do. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I really appreciate all of you players being here with me. And if I'm ever doing anything that is a little lackluster or that doesn't hit as hard as you'd like it to, please let me know to amp it up. Please let me know what I can do to grease the story up. You know, like a Scottish janitor. Grease me up, woman. That's what I got. You guys are all
You're
lovely.
going in.
You got it going in. Also, I wanted to do a big thank you because this episode is sponsored. It's sponsored by our sponsor, Bookworm Games. Bookworm Games is a wonderful company. They have supported us for over a year now, and they actually are expanding into modules. I have written a very expansive module, an adventure module about pirates and children's performers and a pirate ship and ghosts. And it is going to be coming to publication in probably September, October, somewhere around there. So I really hope that you check it out. In the meanwhile, if you need some dice, go to bookwormgames.com. That's BOOKWYRM games.com. And you can get 15% off if you use code DorkTales on checkout. You also get free shipping if you spend 100 Canadian, which is like 70 US. So most of the world runs on the US dollar, or at least understands what it is. So we'll go with that, like 70 bucks-ish. You get free shipping worldwide. That's pretty dope. Bookworm Games is a wonderful sponsor, and I had to shout them out because not only is it in my contract, I also like them, and we use their dice constantly. And we don't get free dice for them usually. They did send me one free set of dice, which I do use, but that's just for Mage. But they're a really good company, and I would not support anybody that I did not know and trust, which is why I turned down a Factor sponsorship for World Building Wednesday.
Oh.
Actually. So if anybody says that I don't, I've turned down quite a few sponsorships because they offered me a Factor sponsorship when I was asking for HelloFresh. And I was like, they're like, oh, it's a sister company. I'm like, yeah, but I've never used it. Like, unless you're going to send me some Factor to taste, I'm not going to taste. But you're awesome. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back in 2 weeks with the actual thing. It's going to be delicious, nutritious, and full of olives because it's, it's Arkos. Anyway, we'll be back, and be sure to come back tonight if you're on our Patreon for Technocracy Zero Sum, which is at 6 p.m. And then we'll be back tomorrow with Fandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk, now featuring a stoned character or a petrified character, whichever you prefer. Good night, everybody.
Take care, y'all.